Barrister Kenneth Okonkwo, the mouthpiece of African Democratic Congress, ADC, has come out to say that for him as an Igbo person, he does not want Biafra to come. That what he wants is Nigeria. According to him in that video, which I'm going to play for you now, he said that as an Igbo person, he doesn't want a smaller territory, which is Biafra, that he wants a bigger territory, which is Nigeria. Not only that, he went further to say that as an Igbo person, he likes to compete with others. And so, if Biafra to come, there wouldn't be space for competition, that he wants to stay in Nigeria where he meets with others and compete with them. Not only that, he capped it all by saying that this Biafra has been fought for by our forefathers and they were refused, and they were told that Nigeria is the best for them, and they stayed in Nigeria. And so for him to come out to say that he wants Biafra is not the right thing. That is what he said in this short video I'm going to play for you now. I'm going to play it for you now so that you hear it yourself. But then after listening to him, I smiled. I said to myself, there is a very popular saying that says that a child who loves fighting in the midst of people will never understand the agony of fighting in a lonely place. Please, I want to beg you, just spend a little time, it's just a few minutes, listen to Barrister Kenneth Okonkwo as he speaks. Then after that, I will come back to tell you a shocking news about this man. Please, do well to listen to him.
I believe. I do not think as an Igbo man, I would prefer a smaller territory to a bigger territory, because I have what it takes to compete with any human being in any part of the world. So why would I accept a smaller territory for a bigger territory? Is it because I can't compete? Why? Why would I run away and go back to a smaller territory when they told my forefathers that no, you cannot go to your smaller territory? We are now Nigeria and we are Nigerians, and it will be good for all of us. And in fairness, it is good and better for all of us to be one Nigeria. Nigeria is the only hope for the black man. Look at what's happening in Haiti. Look at what's happening in this and that. If there is no country that is powerful enough to safeguard the interest of the black man, it's going to affect every black man on earth. Nigeria is the hope of Africa. The most populous nation in Black Africa, the largest economy in Africa, the most populous black nation on earth. So Nigeria has a lot, and if you take away the Igbo in Nigeria, I'm sorry, Nigeria will never be the same. The Igbo man is the best gift for Nigeria, and Nigeria is the best land for the Igbo man.
Now you heard him. Honestly, it beats my mind when I see people I have some atom of respect for, when I see them begin to talk off point, probably for political reasons or for their own personal interest. Honestly, in the recent days, Barrister Kenneth Okonkwo has been speaking off point. Probably, I would say, because general election is around the corner. And so on daily basis, he goes to interview, he grants interview, he calls media and talk and talk. Most times, he doesn't talk what really makes sense in the recent days, honestly. But then we understand all that one is for, his political career. We understand that. But then I wish I can see him one-on-one. There are so many questions I would want to ask him about this statement he made. He said that, Biafra territory is a smaller territory, that he wants Nigeria, that is a bigger territory. But I can tell you, honestly speaking, that even Nigeria is a smaller territory for Igbos. Oh yes, if you leave these Igbos, they want to take over the world. They want to rule the world. They want to govern the world. And that is why we get that popular saying that anywhere you go and do not see an Igbo person, that you should run for your life. That is where we get that popular saying. But Kenneth Okonkwo is here telling us that Nigeria is the bigger territory that Igbos need. Honestly, there are so many questions. Now, let's digest a bit of what he said. He said, as an Igbo man, I don't prefer smaller territory to bigger territory. I can tell you that even Nigeria is not enough for Igbos. Nigeria, as big as it is still not enough for Igbos. Talk more of this one that they are being segregated. They are not given the chance. They are not given the opportunity to excel. Go to Aba, you see what our people are producing. They are not given that opportunity. They are not given that, that resources to excel. We have somebody in Nigeria, an Igbo person manufacturing car. If it is another country, believe in me, the government will make it mandatory that the government officials will buy from that person. But here in Nigeria, they will do everything to frustrate him to stop. And that is why the man manufactures in Nigeria and sent to other countries. Igbos are not given the opportunity to excel. That is where Kenneth Okonkwo is saying that he wants a bigger territory. Tell me what is fun in having a bigger territory where you are not welcomed, where you are not loved, where you are not given the opportunity. Tell me the joy that is there. Okay, Kenneth Okonkwo said, they told my forefathers, no, you cannot go to the smaller territory. They told our forefathers, no. That is not the right statement. Honestly speaking, I would say that they forced our forefathers to stay in the bigger territory. They forced them because they never agreed, and that was why they went into war. They never agreed to stay because they understood that, technically that is how it should be. It is better that you have one brother or one sibling who loves, who respects, and who cherishes you than having 10 siblings that hate, dislike, beat you up, mess you up. It's better you have one that loves you than having 10 that do not love you or do not care for you. So our forefathers understood, but Kenneth Okonkwo is here telling us that they told our forefathers, no, you must stay in the bigger territory. So it is now a must to stay in that bigger one. Reason it yourself, you understand what I'm saying? Now, Kenneth Okonkwo went further to say, Nigeria is the only hope for black man. Nigeria is the only hope for black man. Anyway, you worship me. What do you think? Is that true? Okay, he went further to say, if you take away the Igbos from Nigeria, Nigeria will never be the same. If you take away the Igbos from Nigeria, Nigeria will never be the same. That is absolutely true. But unfortunately, those people who are making the country to be viable, those people are not liked. Those people are not called to be part of the government. Those people are not called to be part of what is going on. Unfortunately. Now, he went further to say, Igbos are the best gift to Nigeria and Nigerians. Igbos are the best gift to Nigeria and Nigerians. And yet, you are treating them like this. Okay, now, on a final note, Kenneth Okonkwo said that Nigeria is the best land for Igbo man. That sounds funny to me. But then, how does it sound to you? That is what your brother, Barrister Kenneth Okonkwo, is saying. That Nigeria is the best land for Igbos. I understand that, some of these statements are for political reasons, right? It is for political reasons. Down, deep inside him, it could be otherwise. Honestly speaking. But then, what do you think? And unfortunately, this thing is happening in a time when we are still talking about the genocide that happened, in from 1967 to 1970. Gowon, just a couple of days ago, released a book of how the war was fought. And I have also seen a video where Kenneth Okonkwo talked about that. And if you see the passion and the way he displayed, the way he spoke about that war and about Gowon, you will say, oh, this guy is a bona fide son of Biafra land. But then, from time to time, you see him come out to tell you that, oh, it is this or not. It is this. I'm not saying that it is not Nigeria or it is not, but I'm only giving you the analysis of what he said. Now, I'm going to play that video for you, just a bit of it, where Kenneth Okonkwo, spoke about the 1967-1970 Biafran War. Listen to him as he spoke passionately. He spoke so well. Even for this, our forefathers is calling. He talked about them that, oh, they fought for something they love. But here is Kenneth Okonkwo, disliking that which your forefathers love. Is that not an unfortunate event? Please do well to listen to him. Then you do well to drop your comment in the comment section. What do you make of this? Do you love what he say or not? Drop your comment then.
So let's start, with your thoughts on the comments made by General Yakubu Gowon that the Nigerian Civil War was fought to keep the country together and that it was not really about defeating any part of the country. What do you make about this? What do you make over this?
Well, first of all, we must understand that war in itself is a display of anarchy. When you talk about war, that is lawlessness at its peak. So when you say you are fighting war to keep Nigeria one, no. You fought the war as a manifestation of your incompetence in the management of the crisis that was then part of Nigerian history. And let me explain what I mean. Before independence, the colonial power, Britain, they kind of brainwashed the Nigerian people to maintain their ethnic cleavages, and they needed to make Nigerians live in that disunity so that they could continue their colonization against Nigeria. So they made the North, for instance, to believe that being educationally disadvantaged, they should not rush into independence because of the likelihood that they will be dominated by the more advanced southern Nigeria. And the North bought into that. And that was why we were delayed from 1954 to 1960. But the actual thing is that Britain just wanted more time to dominate Nigeria. So after independence, that mindset that the South is likely to dominate them remained. And the North was always at every slightest chance reminding the South that we did not intend to be one country with you because we are suspecting your domination. But the 1966 military coup, pure military coup, has nothing to do with ethnicity or anything. Even though people who organized it were predominantly from one ethnic group. But that reinforced the belief by the North that these people, we said it, they want to dominate us. And then they carried out a revenge coup in 1966 July, which was meant actually to separate from Nigeria, not to keep Nigeria one. But the Britain also reminded them that the resources are in the East. So if you leave Nigeria, we are going to support the East. So you better run now that you have acquired power to maintain Nigeria as one. And that made them to have a rethink. And by that time, a lot of Igbos, for instance, have been killed during the pogrom, during the massacre. So there was an entrenched suspicion between the ethnic groups. And this led them to go to Aburi for a conference, and they reached agreement. And it was still Gowon who came back and reneged on the agreement, which inevitably led to the bitter war. And after the war, Gowon declared again, no victor, no vanquished, and promised to reconcile, rehabilitate, and reconstruct the Southeast, which he failed again to do. So all the available opportunities for him to make Nigeria one and consolidate that unity, he was not able to do. But let us make one point clear, that after a while, when he himself was thrown away by some of those his colleagues, that was when maybe he recognized that what happened in 1966 was a military coup and not any ethnic coup, because he himself was thrown away by the same military people. I wonder which terminology we use to describe the ones who threw him away. But one thing is clear. After that, it looks as if he went into theology, had a rebirth, and he came back and genuinely went through our Southeast apologizing and asking for forgiveness for his role in the Civil War. And we know that though the Southeast has been marginalized and ill-treated in that war, which was not caused by them, we know that Gowon has tried to make certain types of penance. We should forgive each other because hostilities need not last forever. So I can submit respectfully that ethnic chauvinism, the youthful exuberance of the military young chaps that took over government, who were actually very impressionable at that age, their inability to manage the crisis contributed in the disunity that resulted in the Civil War. We must learn to forget and to forgive so that we will move ahead as one united Nigeria. I remember what Ojukwu said when he came back from exile, he said, we had fought one civil war. We don't need to fight another one. That he is going to go to war to fight if Nigeria is ever threatened again. And I stand by that. Nigeria being the hope of the black man. Nigeria being the hope of Africa. Nigeria being blessed, and in our enlightened self-interest, the capabilities and blessings of Nigeria will be better harnessed if we come together, live together under one united Nigeria. Nigeria based on equity, unity, peace, and justice. Nigeria will achieve its aims. I support the opinion that we should move ahead now as one united Nigeria, and I'm willing to fight if Nigeria is threatened. Let me point out that presently in Nigeria, what is causing disunity is no longer ethnic chauvinism and religious fanaticism. It is now the incompetence and corruption of the leaders of Nigeria that have inflicted hunger, hardship, degradation, deprivation on the citizens, making them too poor. And when you're poor, even to adhere to theology is very difficult, because there's no reception to theology when a man is hungry. An angry man is a hungry man. A hungry man is an angry man, and is easily irritated no matter what. So the threats to our unity today is poverty, which is orchestrated by the incompetence and corruption of the ruling class. World Bank report just gave a report that more than 129 million Nigerians are poor. And fuel price is now 1,200 naira per liter, unsustainable. And naira has been depreciated to the point that you have 1,700 and something naira per dollar. And you can see electricity. In 1 week, we have celebrated more than 3 national grid collapse. And some people are still pretending that they are the leaders of Nigeria. No, they are leaders of darkness, not leaders of light. And they are now the greatest source of our disunity. And let me point out, free and fair election is the only solution to our disunity now. Because if we have the ability to choose our leaders in a free, fair, credible, verifiable, periodic election, then we will say that our will be imposed on the leadership of Nigeria, and they will give us the dividends of democracy. Anything short of that is going to threaten the existence of this country, not because of ethnic chauvinism or religious fanaticism, but because you cannot sustain a diverse people living together in abject poverty.
Mr. Okonkwo, permit me to come in on this point. And I like your oratory prowess when articulating what Nigeria should be as a unified entity. But if that is the case, why is it that Mr. Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, someone you know very well, is being almost forced to explain his congratulatory message to General Gowon? Because the likes of Simon Ekpa and several others are saying because he's desperate for power, he's beginning to cower. Some are saying that he's desperate to become president, so he's now going soft and he's trying to belong. Hence, he's doing what he's doing, and he's trying to explain the reason why. That's to show that probably we do not see ourselves as one.
Well, let me say that all the protests, all the agitations you're seeing Nigerian over, like I said, they are results of manifestation of marginalization, manifestation of injustice, manifestation of poverty. And it is everywhere in Nigeria. You just have the Yoruba nation agitators who submitted letter to the Prime Minister of Britain that they want a separate country. You can see that Boko Haram
route. What I want to find out from you is why is Mr. Obi's statement of congratulations to General Gowon hitting up the polity is the big question, if we see ourselves as one Nigeria?
Well, you should be prepared to ask Obi that when you see him. I've always said that it is good for a leader to always think before he talks. In other words, before you make a statement, it must be a statement you have thought through, and you should be able to stand by it. You should not be, a fair weather kind of leader that when they push you this side, you will explain. When they push you this side, you will explain. You should be able to articulate your view at any point and stand by it. However, like I said, no human being is infallible. He does not need to explain if he is sure what he is saying, that he believes in it. But if he needed to explain and he explained, then you should hold him responsible for his own actions and for his own words. Let me tell you something. I believe in unity of Nigeria. I believe General Gowon made a whole lot of mistakes because he himself prevaricated on a lot of things that would have prevented the war, even when they were by his own initiation. And so, when you say Peter Obi made a statement and then he's clarifying, there's nothing wrong in clarification. However, there is a need to always be sensitive and then be sure of the statement you want to make so that you don't begin to want to pander on all sides. I've always said it is good to stand on one side and then whatever consequences it is, then you take it. I don't have anything against anybody saying anything. It's a free word, freedom of expression, but you should be able to stand by your word. I don't think it has anything to do with the unity of Nigeria, because what Nigerians are looking out for now, like I said, is competent leaders of capacity. So if he expressed his opinion and withdrew it or modified it, that is his right to do, and he's entitled to it.
Now, Mr. Okonkwo, you said earlier, that the factors dividing Nigeria is not ethnic or religious affiliated, but you said corruption and bad leadership. Yep. However, some analysts, believe politicians usually use the divide and rule tactic. They use ethnicity, they use religion, to divide Nigerians in order to win election, like we witnessed in 2023. So how can Nigerians